What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, and Money in the Bank has come and gone. We have our Money in the Bank men's and women's winners. I'm gonna talk about it, recap, give my thoughts on what they might be doing going forward. As always, you can find me on my social media there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and whatever else there is. I mean, you're not going to do it, so it's not a big deal because I only have about one or two people actually watching this. Anyway, so real quick, Otis won, Oscar won. I did all right, and I got I missed three matches, but they were kind of one I almost don't count, and I'll get into that in a bit. So I'm just going to run through the kickoff, and then we're going to run through the matches and try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. And so start at the kickoff. We get a New Day interview. He hits him with an Earl Thomas dig, which is kind of funny. And apparently Big E doesn't like balloons. And then we see some stuff from Tamina's social media, some of the things she's been producing. And honestly, I didn't know she had that kind of personality, to be honest. I don't follow her on social media. All I see is what we see on television, which is usually just her being quiet, being like the heater for somebody. That's pretty much it. But she put together some kind of funny stuff. Nobody meaner than Tamina. And then I'll get into the match. But this was probably my favorite Tamina match of all time. She actually, did a lot of good stuff there. So we get to the first match, and it's Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. This is the only match of the kickoff. So we have Jeff Hardy. He's trying to countering Cesaro's strength. Fight spills to the outside. Hardy tries to jump off the stairs, but he actually gets caught by Cesaro, dumped on the barricade. Cesaro does a springboard elbow for a 2 count. He then Irish whips Hardy against the ring, does it a second time. We get a leg drop off the second rope and a 2 count by Cesaro. He hits him with the big abdominal stretch. A sliding forearm. Then he starts just ground and pound on Hardy. Hardy comes back with a jawbreaker. Tries to hit a twist of fate, fails. Tries to do a whisper in the wind, fails. Then Cesaro gets him up at the top, tries to do a gut wrench avalanche suplex. That fails. Jeff Hardy finally gets his whisper in the wind for a 2 count. Landed pretty bad on Cesaro's knee. Cesaro started selling that for the rest of the match. Actually gets then a twist of fate, another 2 count. Cesaro finally does get his gut wrench avalanche suplex, but that only gets a 2 count on that one. Goes for the neutralizer, but there's a back body drop where he lands on his feet. That's actually happened several times with Cesaro, kind of showing his flexibility and his athleticism. Goes for a clothesline, and a big clothesline is a 2 count. Huge European uppercut against the barricade on the outside. Then Cesaro actually gets thrown into the stairs with knees first, and then with a dive off the barricade by Cesaro. Cesaro thrown back into the ring. Hardy hits him with a swanton, and for the win. And I was a little shocked there was no Sheamus appearance, but obviously maybe they're just saving that to keep that feud going. Also, I guess maybe because the bar, they've kind of separated them, so I'm not exactly sure. I had 7 confidence points on this, and obviously I wanted Cesaro to win kayfabe, but Hardy won. I just knew he was going to win, so that was 7 points. I'm going to keep a running total. There's a possible 36 possible points that you could have gotten if you're doing the confident points system, so we'll go through that. Let's see what else here. We show AJ on the bump, kind of an interview, and he's kind of no-selling the fact that he got buried in the Boneyard match. That'll actually come into play later on. So then we get to Money in the Bank. First match is the SmackDown Tag Team title match with the New Day, Lucha House Party, Miz and Morrison, and the Forgotten Sons. It's a fatal 4-way match, meaning that the champions don't need to be there, to lose. So start off, Big E throws his jacket at Corey on commentary, knocks his headset off, and I don't know, it's kind of funny. So Kofi and Metalik start off. Blake gets a blind tag. Then the Sons double team Metalik. Morris gets tagged in, hits a Spanish fly on Metalik instead of into the ring onto everyone on the outside. Crazy spot. I had no idea that they were going to do that. I didn't even know everyone was out there at the time. Riker trips Metalik on the ropes when he's trying to get back in. The Sons work over Metalik. He was in there for a very long time. He was getting worked over pretty good. He gets a tornado DDT and then gets the hot tag to Lince Dorado. Lince Dorado does a Rana on Morrison, but it gets broken up. Luckily, Morrison did not take as many headshots as he did in the last match. Okay, so then we get Morrison with a disaster kick now on Kofi, who's now in the ring. Kofi goes for Trouble in Paradise, but Miz actually counters, tries to go for a figure four, but that fails. Cutler and Big E powerbomb stomp combo for a 2 count. Morrison with a Starship Pain on Big E, but Lucha House Party breaks that up. We get a double handspring stunner by Lince Dorado. He hits a top rope Rana, takes Morrison to the outside. Splash elbow drop combo by Lucha House Party on Big E, but it's broken up by the Forgotten Sons. And then Big E goes to spear Riker, but Riker actually pulls down the ropes, a little low bridge, and gets kicked out, which is kind of funny because Corey kind of goes off on them, saying that the ref is drunk with power, especially because it is a no DQ, so he should be allowed to do it if he wants to, but they kick him out anyway. Everyone is beat up on the outside now. Big E finally gets a big ending on Grand Metalik for the win. So yeah, as I thought they were going to win, I just didn't see anybody else taking it on. I would have liked Miz and Morrison to win, but at the same time, this keeps the storyline going that New Day can't beat them in a 2-on-2 matchup because there was another Lucha House Party took the pin. So I had 5 confidence points on that. So I won that, so total of 12 so far. All right, let's see what we got. We got a Lacey Evans promo. She's putting on lipstick, studied the opponents and the blueprints of the corporate HQ. Didn't really mean anything. We then get a backstage interview with Drew. He's more of a David than Goliath based on his current on his life story of how he got there, according to him. But he puts over Seth, but he says that he doesn't have the heart, passion, or desire that Drew does. And he's going to welcome to Claymore Country. So I guess that's kind of his play on Suplex City, Claymore Country. We'll see. I'm sure they'll make a shirt of that. We then get the match that made no sense for the very beginning, was Truth versus MVP. Truth is doing his shtick, obviously playing to the crowd of zero. MVP comes out with the Black Panther gear. I actually appreciated that. They start jawing back and forth. And then Bobby Lashley comes out. Says MVP can take the night off. And Truth says, oh, well, then I'm going to try to take the night off too. And doesn't. And then they start talking. And then he actually slaps Bobby Lashley by accident. He tries to run, but obviously, doesn't get away. Bobby hits him with the spine buster. Truth tries a scissor kick. Fails. Lashley spears him. Match over. Obviously, I thought MVP was going to win. Truth. I wanted Truth to win because I just find him more entertaining. I'm going to call this a no contest because MVP did not actually wrestle, so 0 points are awarded. I did have 6 points confidence on it because I did think that Truth was going to take the pin. We actually get a little more Truth later on, but yep, that's 6 points down the drain. What are you going to do? No one predicted that. Okay, so we get a kind of like a cell phone type promo from Baron Corbin. He goes over his bona fides per usual, and he tells us, how a Money in the Bank match works. Thanks, Corbin. We didn't know already. We then get backstage with Bayley and Sasha. Bayley actually doesn't allow Sasha to talk because Kayla is trying to stir the pot, so they kind of just walk off, and then that's actually the start of the match, Bayley versus Tamina. And as I said earlier, this was basically my favorite Tamina match I've ever seen. Tamina actually showed a lot of personality and everything in this, so now I'm not as kind of reticent to see if she would take the title off of Bayley. I think she could actually maybe do some stuff and be a decent champion based on everything I saw here. Obviously it was a quick turnaround for me, but just from what I saw. So Bayley starts pie facing Tamina to start the match, kind of just really trying to abuse her. Tries to go for a sleeper hold, doesn't work. Tamina puts Bayley over her shoulders and starts slapping her ass. Bayley, you could tell she's kind of shook right now. She doesn't know what to do because she can tell that she's completely overmatched in the power department. Bayley trips Tamina, wraps Tamina's leg around and then wraps her leg around the post, trying to go after the knees because apparently Tamina had surgery. She's trying to break her down part by part, whether it's the legs, the shoulders. She's just trying to go body part by body part. Tamina does get a splash on Bailey in the corner. Super kick. She tries to go for a super kick. It actually gets countered into a knee bar, which is pretty good move on Bailey's part. Tamina rolls through the ropes and gets the rope break. Bailey with a running knee tries the fireman's carry, but she just can't hold up Tamina and fails. She then takes water from the commentary desk, takes like I don't even know if it was a real sip, and then just absolutely throws it in Tamina's face. Then she starts, Tamina, comes to, hulks up, starts throwing her around on the outside. Goes for a Samoan drop, fails. The super kick lands, takes Bailey to the outside. Tamina throws Bailey into the commentary desk, and Corey's like, "Why didn't you catch her, Cole?" Obviously, it wasn't going to happen. Tamina gets a super kick and a Samoan drop. Sasha actually attempts to go in to the ring, but as she goes in, Tamina catches her and stares her down, and Sasha's like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." She then tries to go for a second Samoan drop, but it's countered into a crucifix by Bailey, and Bailey gets the win. Tamina tries another Samoan drop, after the match because she's obviously very pissed off, but Sasha comes in with a chop block. They beat her down a little bit and then go. So we'll see what ends up happening here. If Tamina is still going to be, part of the mix, but I think they're just setting this up for Sasha and Bailey to end up, feuding. It just makes sense. We get this really odd, promo with Seth, really slow delivery. It's his destiny, the same kind of stuff he's been saying. So, nothing new there. Actually, just so I had 8 points of confidence on Bailey. So total running now is 20 out of a possible 36, even though technically it's 20 out of 30, but 36 because of the 6 points for the truth match, but whatever. Now we are on the Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman Universal Championship match. Obviously, there's a lot to build up to this. As I've said, I'm not the biggest fan of Braun or the title being put on him. It is what it is. Anyway, sorry, just making sure my videos, it's one of these things I got to make sure that I'm not screwing this up. So Bray walks right up to Braun, gets pushed back into the corner. Bray is laughing as he keeps getting beat down. Braun says he's not the same boy anymore that he knew. Braun throws Bray into the post on the outside. Bray avoids Braun and pushes him onto the announce table when he tries to do his, kind of like running around shoulder tackle type thing. Then Huskus the Pig shows up behind the barricade out of nowhere, cheering on Bray. Bray hits a DDT on the outside. He goes for a senton, brings him back into the ring, hits him with a senton. Braun rolls to the outside. Braun gets thrown into the steps. Bray's upset he has to hurt Braun. He keeps saying that. He just says he doesn't want to do it, but he feels like he has to bring him back. Bray with a tornado DDT hits his sister Abigail in the ring now for a 2 count. Bray goes for a second Sister Abigail, but you could tell he's taking way too long. Kind of, you knew Braun was going to be able to counter it. So he counters it into a choke slam. Braun with a head of steam puts Bray into the barricade, runs right through him. The barricade doesn't even fall over like you would normally see it. It kind of just bends in, so it looked pretty brutal spot. Let's see. Braun then sent to the outside comes up with the black sheep mask. All of a sudden, kind of just the slow, coming up from the ring. He's got the mask on. He starts doing all the mannerisms that he used to do, ripping the shirt off, what's his name? Bray screaming, "This time everything will be perfect." They hug. All the puppets are rejoicing. Bray says he told him, he told him, as in I'm guessing the Fiend, that you'd come back. But it's taking way too long. It's kind of drawn out at this point. Braun stops, takes off the mask, drops it, stomps on it, and hits a running power slam for the win. But as I said, you just knew it was coming, obviously. It took too long. Braun goes off yelling. Bray will never let him back in. He'll never let Bray back into his life, and blah, 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 as he walks up. And Bray is laying there with kind of a smirk, and then all of a sudden you start to see flashes of the Fiend. So obviously this isn't over between the two. I would like to see that, Braun is so hell-bent on not going back into that life of being kind of part of the Wyatt family that he doesn't even realize he's being turned. So eventually, whether he loses the title or he keeps the title, but that he slowly moves back toward Bray and being part of that stable, that would be interesting to see. I don't know. I had 2 confidence points on this, just because I wasn't sure, what was going to happen there. So we got 22 points right now. All right, so let's see. Now we get another hacker vignette. Who is he? He's everyone, sees everything, hears everything, knows everything. He's the truth, and no one is safe. And he has screens of literally pretty much everyone, every kind of major storyline going on right now. So you don't know who he's going to be going after. I know some people have used different kinds of features on the what do you call it? Being able to change the voice and whatnot, and they're able to kind of figure out whether it's a man's voice, woman's voice, and maybe it sounded kind of like Mustafa Ali, it sounded like Chad Gable one time, it sounded like somebody else another time. I don't know if they're just using different voices and modulating them, to try and throw us off. We'll see what ends up happening with that. At this point, who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do? All right, and then we get our Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. I wanted Drew, I had Drew, and I put 3 confidence points on it, so let's just go here. We get new music for Drew, which is more kind of like a gospel-y type thing, and then starts to pick up, but I like it. It suits his character right now and the gimmick that he's going with. Excuse me. So they're... Match starts off standing switches, headlocks, Drew shoulder tackles Seth out of the ring. Seth sent from corner to corner. There's a big chop, huge suplex by Drew, more chops by Drew in the corner. Seth drop kicks Drew in the knee, which starts to turn the tide a little bit in Seth's favor. He posts Drew, basically when you throw him into the into the post, shoulder first on the outside. Then he hits one of his, what I always call an awful suicide dive. Seth just really slow, kind of really doesn't look like it does anything. So more offense by Seth into a single leg Boston Crab. He transitions to the STF. Drew finally gets to the ropes for the break. He hits a second suicide dive, much better this time. Hits a running knee on the outside, another diving knee, and he keeps resetting the count. He clears off the commentary desk, jumps off there with a third knee. And then he goes for another suicide dive, but Drew catches him and belly-to-belly suplexes him over the head onto the commentary table. Drew brings him back into the ring, more belly-to-bellies, then a big boot. Drew with a huge clothesline from the top. He does a kip-up, so obviously the knee is feeling good enough. Rollins goes for a springboard, misses into a spine buster for a 2 count for Drew. Drew goes for the future shock DDT, but it lands... he gets a super kick by... Seth, only a 1 count. Then Seth does a frog splash, another 1 count. So obviously Drew, they're showing how strong Drew is. Rollins goes on the outside. He's going to grab a chair. The ref is just telling him, you use that chair, you lose. What are you doing? Don't bring the chair in. Don't bring the chair in. And he just drops, he thinks twice, drops it. Comes back in the ring, gets hit with a Glasgow kiss. They both go to the top. Rollins with the superplex from the top into the Falcon Arrow, the roll-through transition, but he only gets the 2 count. Drew hits the Future Shock DDT, but only gets a 2 count there. Drew is selling the knee, though. Obviously, he's able to do the kip-ups and everything, but, he's still saying that his knee isn't 100%. He's kind of running on adrenaline at this point. They both go to the top again. Drew kind of falls back, and he's into the Tree of Woe, but at the same time, he kind of pulls himself up and is able to, toss Seth across the ring, which is pretty impressive. Gets out of the Tree of Woe, goes for a Claymore, misses, gets a super kick, and then stomp, and then only gets a 2 count for Rollins. Goes for a second stomp, it's countered into a Glasgow kiss, then he super kicks Drew again, then Drew finally gets the Claymore, so it's back and forth, hitting all their finishers, but 1 Claymore for the win. It was a great match, actually. Really fun match. Probably, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But the really interesting part was the way what happened after. Drew was kind of like, this is what he needed. He needed this match to solidify the fact that he is a true champion. He's going to be the face of the company. And he actually pulls Seth up and offers him his hand and says, prove that you're a leader. Shake my hand. And Drew and Seth shakes his hand. And it's I can't tell, which was good. I couldn't tell exactly what his emotions were. Was he frustrated? Was he mad? Was he just doing this to kind of, lull Drew into a false sense of security for the next time, because at the same time, Seth lost to Kevin Owens at Mania. Now he lost his next big match here at this pay-per-view. He's on a pay-per-view losing streak, and, he's supposed to be the future. This is his destiny. I mean, we're going to need some other contenders, for the title. So obviously, provided Ray and Alistair aren't dead, we'll see. AJ's back, which is good. That provides another person that could be a true title contender. So yeah, I like the match a lot. I like the way it ended. I think the finish was great. I like the post-match kind of, interaction between the two. We'll see how that works out. Yeah. All right. And then we get backstage with R-Truth. He's kind of, looking very upset, looking at a picture. You don't know if who that is. Could have been Carmella, could have been anything, wasn't sure. So he says that MVP was tough, but he won, even though he didn't. That he lost weight, which makes no sense because Bobby Lashley is bigger than MVP. But it actually turns the picture around. He says, because he won, he has nobody to celebrate with, and it's with him and his 24/7 title. And that he needs to get his baby back, his 24/7, 7-Eleven, blah, 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 blah. And that he says he's going to sack Tom Brady and take back his title. So obviously, Gronk is the champ, not Tom Brady. I wonder how they're going to roll with this. I wonder if Tom Brady will get involved. I could easily see him doing that just for shits and giggles. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, they got the Fox, so obviously the NFL is going to be a part of it. That would be great. That, in the middle of Bucks practice, Truth rolls him up and runs off. That would be phenomenal if that happened. I doubt it will happen, though. So we get another. Once again, they showed that Raw preview right before the Money in the Bank match that, Becky's going to confront the winner. We're also going to get a Edge versus Orton match out of nowhere, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, we get now to what was easily one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen from WWE. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I get it. Sometimes it's overly produced. It's almost comical, TV show quality. I have no problem with it. I don't care if sometimes it's a little more serious and sometimes it's a little bit more hokey and overly produced. I find it entertaining, and that's pretty much why I watch wrestling. I watch it to be entertained. I don't care about certain things. I can let a lot of things go and suspend my disbelief in certain ways and not others. But that's just me. That's my opinion. It's not everyone's opinion. I know plenty of people that didn't like it. I know plenty of people that hated the 2 matches at WrestleMania. And I know plenty of people that thought it was the greatest thing ever, which I wouldn't go that far. I just really enjoyed it because that was just me. So that being said, we get Money in the Bank matches, both the men and the women at the same time. So we get the women who are starting in the lobby, the men who are starting in the gym. I assume they're both kind of the first floor or the floor right below. They're introducing each person. Obviously, it's pretty funny. Daniel Bryan's like, all right, guys, all right, who's ready to fight? Baron Corbin comes out. AJ's like, oh, it's Princess Corbin. Like, they're all jawing at each other. It's really funny. Asuka's music comes in. Nowhere to be found. Carmella is doing the moonwalk, squeaking shoes. Apparently, she's on the kind of concourse above. Starts off with a dive off the top onto everybody. I'm going to try and go through as many of these spots as I possibly can. If I miss stuff and you want to tell me that I missed something, feel free to let me know. But yeah. So real quick. So I have 23 points, by the way. Yeah. No. 25 points, because I had 2 points on Braun, and he won. And I had 3 points on Drew, and he won. So yeah, 25, and that's actually, I didn't get either of these right, even though who I wanted to win in kayfabe won, but doesn't matter. So I ended up with 25 out of possible 36. But more importantly, let's go to the matches. So Asuka, after she takes everyone out, goes to the elevator. She's dancing in the elevator, which is pretty funny because you have the security camera watching her. The others are hitting the stairs. Then we get to the brawl in the gym. Corbin throws a plate at AJ, misses, hits the wall of mirrors, and it shatters. And there's kind of like this ominous music, kind of like a foreshadowing, like what's going on. And he's just like, whoa, 7 years bad luck. It's my bad Corbin impression. And then Otis and AJ are fighting by the squat rack. Otis kind of drops a bar on AJ, and it's so ridiculous because you could easily see AJ's like leaning up against it, holding it, when he could easily just slip right under it. And he's just like, God, come on, help, help, screaming for Ray to help. Ray's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So then everyone but AJ runs past the bathroom, and Ray's kind of behind because obviously he was, talking to AJ there. And he hears a toilet flush, and for some reason he decides to stop, and you're already like, okay, who's this going to be? And it is Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love, with his fake tan. I love you. And Ray says, I love you too. And it was just very awkward. So now they're all fighting by the first floor elevators. Otis, Aleister Black, Corbin, Bryan, they get in the elevator. Ray takes the stairs. So then the women are fighting in the stairwell. They get to the elevator, and all of a sudden the men spill out, and they're all brawling, and they're just like, uh-oh, let's get out of here. All the while, Asuka is hiding in one of the elevators, which is kind of weird. It's like, there's multiple elevators. Come on, people. I don't know if maybe they only set up one elevator for, that could have been a stipulation in the match. But Asuka is hiding in one of the elevators, then tries to run out. Shayna sees her and goes after her. Black slips away while Otis cheers on Bryan, while Corbin is kind of set up in these ropes, and he's like marking out hard for Daniel Bryan and doing the yes chants, and then Bryan just turns the tables on him. Then someone comes out of the back pretending to be Doink the Clown. I believe the actual Doink the Clown has passed away, so I don't know exactly who that was. Probably just some WWE employee. Fun fact, Doink the Clown was at one of my best friend's house shows many, many years ago. I have pictures of it, dragging around a giant mallet, Harley Quinn style. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so Nia and Carmella fight into one of the conference rooms with Dana and Shayna. Dana hits a chair shot on Nia, and then gets on the top of the table, and there's like this clear briefcase with money in it, and she takes down, there's the music, and she's like really like celebrating, and then all of a sudden there's this, I don't know why they did it this way, but it looks like, Stephanie, did an iPhone promo and sent it in. She looks like a complete blank white wall, doesn't even make sense. It's like, hey Dana, this is the Money in the Bank conference room, because that's the theme of it, so therefore there's the thing hanging. She's like, you're destroying everything, clean this shit up. But it's like, is Dana that stupid? Like, Dana, I mean, you're not, the whole point is we know it's on the roof. You're on like the second or third floor, and it's in a conference room. But, so then Mella hits her, Dana, with a poster of herself, and then Moon walks out of the conference room and then gets hit with a vicious women's right. AJ is going after Ray, which I don't understand why he's wasting his time, but he keeps calling out Ray, I guess because Ray didn't help him. He then gets freaked out by a Taker poster. This plays into, what I had said earlier, that, he was no-selling the fact that he got buried, and he's now having PTSD, which is pretty funny. He opens a room and there's blue light and his coffin, and then they start seeing flashbacks of the Boneyard match. Obviously, it's a little ridiculous. So then what ends up happening? Black, out of nowhere, hits him with a kick and then closes the door on him, and you can hear him screaming in the background. He's like, no, leave it, no. Because obviously he's pretty shook about this whole thing. So then we get a shot of Paul Heyman with an absolute feast on the table, which it's like, okay, we know where this is going, because there's no way Paul Heyman is eating all that food. Someone's going through a table, or what we end up getting, which is a food fight. But so the men and the women, they show up, from both different angles. They start jawing. And then Dana bumps into Heyman with the poster still on her, because apparently she's been walking around the whole building with the poster on it, which is completely ridiculous. And then a sandwich kind of flies into Otis's hands, and he starts having spazzing out, freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. Everyone's like, oh my god, what the hell's going? And then he screams, food fight. And then Otis hits a huge plate of food on Heyman, and everyone is shocked. But it obviously overly produced, where they're showing the montage of everyone's faces. Aleister Black's face is hysterical, because it's so out of character for him, which I get is a problem, if you don't like that kind of thing. I thought it was hysterical. I thought it was really funny. And this completely broke out into some ridiculous food fight. Shayna starts choking out Ray, and then Nia and Otis go to crush him. She takes a step back, so then they get crushed. And then Nia tosses Dana into the Coke machine, which was fucking brutal. She just went back first, hard. And then powerbombs Mella through the table. She's done. She's completely unconscious at that point. And then there's a stare down between Nia and Otis. Then Otis goes into another part of, I guess, the cafeteria and sees all the desserts. Starts, getting crazy with the pies. And then we get Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, People Power, gets hit with a pie in the face. Then we see a wet floor sign with a janitor who's cleaning, so we all know that that's obviously going to have something. So we see Asuka running in at first. You're like, oh, Asuka's probably going to fall and slip. She starts yelling at the janitor, asking where I guess the roof was. Finally, they all start chasing after her, and all of them don't slip. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Someone's got to. And of course, it's Dana. She slips, bangs her head on the back. Shayna catches a kick, women's right, choke slam into the wall. Everyone's just going after her. Brian and Black are battling. AJ finally shows back up. Brian and AJ battle into Vince's office with the dinosaur head. So they're fighting, and then you see Vince in the background, but you're like, what? And then all of a sudden you see the dinosaur head, which obviously has been talked about. He has a fossilized dinosaur head on his wall, which is completely ridiculous. And then he goes, "Get out!" And so they're like, "Oh shit!" They start to go around, and AJ's like, "Come on, hold on one second." And then they put the chairs back, and then Vince puts on hand sanitizer, and then turns around, starts writing on a yellow pad, something. I don't know if that's some kind of Vince story or something. And then the two of them, both AJ and Brian, have like a kind of little funny moment, like, "Oh, you totally pussed out over there." And Brian's like, "Well, you were the one who told me to fix the chairs." He's like, "I did, didn't I?" And then they start fighting. So, kind of funny, letting everybody, get their things in. Then Brian comes out of nowhere with the scepter. He's hitting everybody. We get a shot of the roof. Finally, Asuka and Nia are first into the ring. Lacey's next. Nia sets up the ladder. Asuka stops her, and then gets hit with a women's right. Asuka and Lacey going back and forth on the ladder. Asuka gets to the top. Corbin comes out of nowhere. He climbs up the other side. He's trying to tell Asuka, "You got to grab that one, not both of them. This is mine." She's like, punches him in the face, kicks him in the face. He goes down. Asuka wins. She grabs the case. It was a little weird that like half the field didn't even get to the ring. I was pretty upset about this with Shayna. It's like, where do they go with Shayna now? They've been giving her all these opportunities, and I definitely need better lighting for this because I can see how dark it is. It's a little ridiculous. Like, what are they doing with Shayna now? Asuka's the champ, so now what? And are they going to do right by Asuka this time? Because they gave Asuka a bunch of chances. She beat Becky back in the day, and then now, every time that she's fought Becky, she loses. So, the ending, like, I'm happy that Asuka won. She was who I wanted, who I wanted to win. I just didn't think she was going to win. I thought they were going to pull the trigger on Shayna. I just don't know how they're going to do this now. Obviously, as always, it's a wait and see. Give the benefit of the doubt until I have a reason to doubt, which more often than not happens. So anyway, Asuka now disappears. She's no longer on the ladder. Otis is the next man in. He's nervous of the ladder because he can't. Every time he puts on his foot on a rung, he breaks through it. Starts battling with Corbin. Does a caterpillar on Corbin. Alistair comes in, hits a black mass on Otis. Ray and Black are battling over the ladder. AJ pushes the ladder over, and both hit the rope. And then Corbin commits, just casual double homicide, throws Ray and Aleister Black over the edge. Obviously not. I'm sure they landed somewhere, but you could hear the thuds, but it's just funny. Aleister Black actually tweeted a picture of him, not him, but of like someone wearing like a sheet, like a ghost. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Okay, so then we got AJ, Brian, and Corbin and Otis all battling. There's a Pele by AJ on Otis. It hits a phenomenal forearm. AJ and Corbin on the top of the ladder battling. AJ and Corbin both take down the briefcase, and they're holding it and kind of fighting over it. And then Elias comes out of nowhere, hits Corbin with the chair shot. And then AJ, apparently those gloves are not wide receiver gloves because he fumbles the case right into the hands of Otis. Otis is your Money in the Bank winner. Holy shit. I of all the people, he probably would have been my least likely. Not because I have anything against Otis, because obviously, listen, he main evented the last two SmackDowns. He's on one of the best. He's in one of the best storylines right now, and they obviously like him. I do feel bad for Tucky. Tucky's kind of who knows. He did say apparently in an interview that he would use it for the tag titles, which I doubt he'll do. I mean, he's got like a full year to use it. And I mean, the problem is right now, is he gonna use it on Bray? I mean, on Braun, or will Bray win the title? Will he use it on Bray? I don't know. I mean, it just seems like that would be an odd storyline right now. I mean, obviously they have plenty of time to build it. Hopefully they don't rush it. He does the "Yo, Mandy, I did it! Yo, Mandy, I did it! Oh yeah!" So yeah, so Otis is your Money in the Bank winner. So yeah, 0 points on all those. As I said, I had 25 points out of a possible 36. Not bad. I almost don't count the Truth MVP match because of the fact that Lashley was the one that was put in. So my match of the night, or match of the pay-per-view maybe? I don't know. I'll see. This is the first one I've done for a pay-per-view review, so we'll see how it works out. I'm just gonna go with the entire Money in the Bank. I mean, it was funny. The right person for the women won it. The unexpected person for the men won it. So I'm interested to see where they're going to go with these storylines going forward. So that's going to be that. As always, social media handles, like, share, comment, whatever you need to do it, because I'll only be as famous as you let me be, which is basically not famous. And that's not why I'm doing it, though. I'm not trying to be famous. But if it happens, that wouldn't be a problem with that. So anyway, that is my Money in the Bank 2020 review, a recap, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why I just paused there. So anyway, my next video most likely will be my weekend reviews, unless I decide to do something during the week. I haven't decided yet. And bye now. Matt, did you see Money in the Bank? Otis winning? That is crazy. Definitely didn't see that coming. No, I didn't see it, asshole. Ooh, that's my bad, bro. My bad.